Volunteering Geelong is the leading body for volunteer information, recruitment, advocacy and support in the Greater Geelong region. The organisation's vision is to support a region where individuals feel motivated to volunteer, have the opportunity to contribute their time, skills and knowledge, and are supported and encouraged to enjoy a rewarding volunteering experience. The centre's been operating since 1998 and currently has 350 not-for-profit organisations registered and advertises over 700 volunteer positions on their behalf. Volunteer information officers interview potential volunteers and provide information regarding suitable voluntary work. Volunteering Geelong also prides itself on the strategic work it conducts to build capacity in the not-for-profit sector with regards to the management of volunteers, the development of programs that support the changing nature of volunteering, and the development of training programs to support the growth of volunteers and volunteer leaders in our region. My name's Jason Doherty. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Volunteering Geelong.
How long have you been working here?
I have been working here for 2 years, and before that I was on the board for 2 years.
What would a regular day look like for you?
There's no regular day. As you can see today, being here at our centre, there's a lot of people here using community rooms and spaces. So every day is different. I don't think there's lots of meetings, lots of discussions with outside organisations that come and look for volunteers, and also lots of individual volunteers that come into the centre looking for volunteer opportunities as well.
What are your likes and dislikes of the job?
I love helping people. I love helping organisations find people to help them. So I love the idea of the community aspect of volunteering and about how people can get involved in the local community. I dislike that there's not enough money to support volunteers and to support organisations that have volunteers. I think sometimes people see volunteering as a bit of a second class thing rather than being as vital as employment or study. So I think that's one of my dislikes, that we're trying to change that focus around what people see as volunteering.
How did you become CEO?
I was on the board for a couple of years of Volunteering Geelong, and they were looking for a CEO, and I applied for the role and got it through that. So I had volunteered on the board to start with, and had volunteered at a number of other organisations as well. So I thought it was an opportunity to try and help people volunteer in the community.
Okay. How long has the place been established?
So Volunteering Geelong was established in 1998, and the current community hub that we are situated in, we moved in about 12 months ago. So we're now not only a volunteer organisation, but we also run a community hub. So part of that process is for people to be able to come and use the hub as well, not-for-profit organisations, and also for us to be able to interview volunteers for opportunities in the community.
So how do you help aspiring volunteers?
Well, you can either check our website for volunteer opportunities, but we really like to see people come in our front door and have an interview. So the interview process for volunteers is done by volunteers. So all of the people that you talk to for a volunteer opportunity are all volunteers and have actually gone through the process. And then that helps, I think, support those individuals who are looking for volunteering to get some knowledge and experience from people who have been through that before. And that's our primary objective, is to find volunteer opportunities for individuals.
How many people do you help volunteer each year?
So directly we interview around 600 or 700 people each year, but we have, last year we helped around 6,000 people volunteer in the region.
What kind of people do volunteer?
A variety. We have lots of people from called and migrant backgrounds. We have people with disabilities. We have mums who are looking for volunteer opportunities. We have students and youth who are looking for opportunities, people who have recently retired, people who might have lost their job and are looking for other opportunities. So a variety of people come in to volunteer.
What companies do you supply volunteers to?
Look, there's plenty in Geelong, lots of op shops, lots of not-for-profit organisations like Diversitat and Uniting Care. Barwon Health is one of our, they have the largest volunteer cohort in Geelong. We help them with some of their volunteer opportunities. So lots of not-for-profits and community organisations come to us for volunteers.
What would someone who wants to volunteer need to know before approaching your organisation?
I think probably for them to have an understanding that they shouldn't just be thinking that they want to do it, volunteer in a certain area. So it doesn't just have to be in aged care, it doesn't have to be in transport, it doesn't have to be in conservation. We have so many opportunities for people that if they come with an open mind around what a volunteering opportunity might look like, I think that's important for people to not just pigeonhole themselves or put themselves in a position where they just think they should volunteer with something they might already know about or something they might like. There's plenty of opportunities.
So, what is the process of becoming a volunteer? Is it just the thing you said before?
Yeah, so basically come and have an interview and then we can provide some opportunities that are already available on our database. So as I said, we've got about 700 volunteer opportunities currently. So people to come in and go through some of those. Then they can contact the organisation directly and go through the process of having an induction or going to try it out. And if it doesn't fit, then they can come back to us and we can find them another opportunity as well.
What barriers are there to volunteering?
I suppose one of them is, one of the biggest ones at the moment is working with children checks. The changes to how the government is making sure that there's less risk, I suppose, attached. Volunteers have to have a working with children check. Most of the time they'll need a police check when they go to an organisation, which the organisation organises for them. So just some of the administration probably is a bit of a barrier. The other one is also, if you're looking for a certain volunteer opportunity and we might not have it at that time, then there might be a bit of a wait, unfortunately, as well.
What benefits are there for volunteering?
Look, there's lots of skills and abilities that people can find through volunteering. So, we have many students come in who are looking for volunteer opportunities to support what they're doing in study. We have people who have lost their job or have been made redundant who are looking for opportunities for them to look outside the normal sector that they've been working in for opportunities. So I think an open mind and then being able to be provided with an opportunity for them to actually get out and look at volunteering in a different way is, that's our job.
How long do people volunteer for?
Look, it varies. There's some are project based, so they might last 6 or 8 weeks. Some are medium term, which we would say 6 to 12 months. Some of our volunteers actually here at Volunteering Geelong have been here for more than 15 years. So it's varied. It depends basically on the organisation about the opportunity, but also about the volunteer and how engaged they want to be as well.
What's one thing that the general public do not know about volunteering?
What don't they know? I think probably that one of the things we're trying to teach people is that it can be an employment pathway, that it can be a pathway to jobs. I think people see volunteering as just a bit of an activity that they might do outside a job they might already have. I think we're trying to give people an understanding that, especially students and people who are studying, that it's an opportunity for them to get some experience and some knowledge, and it might actually help them get a job.
How does volunteering help people with disabilities?
Well, we actually have a program for people with a disability called Step by Step, and that's an opportunity where we provide mentoring and support to the person to actually volunteer in a setting. So that program is set up that mentor actually goes in with the volunteer to an organisation, supports the organisation in supporting that person with a disability, but also supporting the volunteer to actually have a great opportunity to be involved in the community.
How many people transition from volunteer work into employment?
Well, actually, we're doing some research on that at the moment. I can't give you exact figures, but we certainly see a lot of people gain experience and knowledge and work and transition into employment. I wouldn't want to give you any figures at this stage, though, on that.
Do you enjoy what you do?
I love it. It's fantastic. I think it's great to see a variety of people come through the door and also being able to deal with a number of different organisations and the way in which we can connect those.
How do your staff help you effectively complete your job?
They do most of the work. They do a lot of the hard work. We have training manager and operations manager. We're in the very lucky position where we have some paid staff, but we also have some volunteers who work for the organisation. 8 or 10 of those, so they actually work here for no pay, but do a mountain of work to make sure that we run effectively.
I no longer need to ask that question. Do volunteers work for Geelong Volunteering? What businesses are you in contact with?
Look, we deal with lots of not-for-profit organisations, community organisations like Foundation 61, Samaritan House. So lots of organisations that are looking into homelessness, housing, disability, community services, aged care. So a variety of them.
Do you use businesses to feed back the creation of new volunteer positions?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the other thing too, is that we're trying to connect volunteers with not just not-for-profit organisations, but also from an employment pathway or from a business pathway through to profit businesses as well. I mean, while our primary objective is to support not-for-profit and community organisations, I think business has a part to play in making sure that volunteering is effective throughout the community.
Do you actively seek volunteers, or do people need to contact your service first?
Well, we actively seek them through making sure that we have information available on the website and through social media. But we promote volunteering, but we also need to engage volunteers by them actually wanting to come and volunteer as well. So we try and promote it, but we also need them to actually come and support the process.
So why was Geelong Volunteers founded, and what's the need for volunteers?
I think it was founded on the basis that lots of community organisations don't have people in their businesses who can support volunteers. Lots of times the volunteer opportunity at an organisation is, or management of those volunteers is tagged onto somebody else's job. So Volunteering Geelong really is the conduit or the link between those individual volunteers and the organisations. And so the larger ones now, like Barwon Health and a few others like Coringal and St Lawrence, will have volunteer coordinators and they'll find their own volunteers directly. But lots of littler or medium-sized organisations can't do that. That's our role, is to support them.
How has volunteering changed since it was established?
I think the opportunities that are available are a lot broader now. So it was very much, I think when it first started, there was a number of different key sectors that might have played a part. But now I think people are opening their eyes to the opportunities that volunteering provides, and I think there's a lot more variety around the sectors that people can volunteer in.
So what's the future outlook for volunteering?
Look, it's bright. We're luckily funded through the Australian government, so that funding for us continues for another 4 years, which provides us with some stability here where we can support volunteers. And our role is to increase the number of volunteer opportunities across the region.
Do you have a success story that you wish to share?
A success story. Well, I suppose one of the ones that stands out is a person with a disability who I think didn't think that volunteering was going to be an opportunity for them. They came with a support worker to our organisation here, had an interview and entered the step-by-step program, and that person is still volunteering today 18 months later after not actually thinking that volunteering was for them. So I think that's probably the reason why volunteering is pretty strong.